We all feel it, right? That constant, unpredictable change that's shaking up pretty much every industry out there. But what if there was a playbook for not just surviving it, but actually using it to win? Well, that's really the core idea behind Ram Charn's The Attacker's Advantage. And today, we're going to break down how you can turn that massive uncertainty into your single biggest opportunity.
Just think about that for a second. This isn't some hypothetical question anymore. It's happening all around us, every single day. You see, the number one challenge for any leader right now is taking control of this uncertainty. Because what we're all facing isn't just another market dip or a new competitor. It's something way, way more powerful.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on this new reality, which Sharon calls the bend in the road. Then we'll explore the attacker's mindset, learn how to literally see the future before anyone else does, and finally, we'll get into the concrete steps for going on offense and making your entire organization agile enough to pull it off.
Okay, first things first. We have to understand that not all uncertainty is created equal. The kind of disruption leaders are facing today is on a whole different level from anything we've seen before. And just recognizing that difference is the first, absolutely crucial step to conquering it.
Sharon gives it a name: structural uncertainty. And this isn't your typical business challenge. We're not talking about adjusting to interest rates or a competitor launching a new product. No, these are massive, unstoppable forces that can make an entire business model, an entire industry totally obsolete, practically overnight. They're like a sudden, sharp bend in the road that completely hides the future you thought you were driving toward.
Let's look at some real-world examples. Remember Dell? Their made-to-order PC model was a thing of beauty, a cash-generating machine. But then, boom, a structural change hits. Tablets and smartphones arrived. And all of a sudden, their core strength, the very thing that made them great, was no longer an advantage. The ground literally shifted right under their feet.
Or how about Nokia? Here's the crazy part. They actually saw the iPhone coming. They'd read Apple's patent filings, but they just dismissed it. Why? Because they couldn't wrap their heads around the idea that a computer company could possibly be a threat in the phone business. They were completely trapped by their own success and just couldn't see the new kind of customer experience Apple was about to unleash.
And this proves that absolutely no one is safe. I mean, think about the taxi industry. For decades, it seemed untouchable, right? With all its regulations and those expensive medallions. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, ride-sharing apps showed up and completely upended the entire model on a global scale. The lesson here is crystal clear. No industry is immune.
So if playing defense against this kind of uncertainty is basically a losing game, what's the alternative? Well, you have to go on the attack. And that requires a complete, fundamental shift in your mindset, one that turns that fear into focus and transforms those threats into massive breakthroughs.
This quote from Sharon just nails it. It's not about reacting faster, it's about seeing the change before anyone else. This ability to see, what he calls perceptual acuity, is the key. It's what allows you to get there first and be the one who defines the new landscape, instead of just becoming a victim of it.
So how do you actually develop this advantage? Well, Charan breaks it down into 5 core skills that all build on each other. It all starts with seeing the change first, that perceptual acuity. From there, you need the right mindset to see it as an opportunity, the guts to define a whole new path, the toughness to manage that painful transition, and finally, the leadership skills to make your entire organization agile enough to execute the plan.
Let's really dig into that first, and honestly, most important skill. Perceptual acuity is like your own personal human radar. It's not magic, it's not some kind of superpower, it's a skill, a discipline you can actually build to see around corners and spot the future long before it becomes obvious to everyone else. So what's this radar looking for? It's trained to spot the weird stuff, the anomalies, the contradictions, the little things that just don't add up. Most people dismiss these weak signals, they just ignore them. But someone with perceptual acuity leans in because they know that's exactly where the future is hiding. And often, driving these huge shifts is a certain type of person. Charan has a great name for them:
a catalyst. These are the doers, the creative outsiders, who aren't tied down by the way we've always done things. They see the hidden potential in new forces, and crucially, they actually act to bring those forces together.
Let's put this side by side, because the difference between a catalyst and an incumbent is just night and day. A catalyst like Ted Turner looked at existing technologies, satellite and cable, and connected the dots in a new way. He asked a crazy question: why does the news have to be at 6 p.m.? And from that question, CNN was born. On the flip side, you have an incumbent like Nokia. They saw the same facts, Apple's patents, but they were so blinded by their current success that they just couldn't see the threat staring them in the face.
And the story of Hal Sperlich is maybe the perfect example of a catalyst's power. This was the genius behind the Ford Mustang. Then he envisioned the next big thing, the minivan. Ford's leadership? They couldn't see it. In fact, they fired him for pushing the idea. So Sperlich took his vision to a struggling Chrysler. The result? The minivan created a massive new market segment and literally saved the company from bankruptcy.
Okay, so you've spotted the change. Now what? Because seeing isn't enough. Not even close. You have to go on the offense. And this means defining a brand new path for your organization and having the sheer courage to commit to it, especially when it gets difficult.
Adobe is a fantastic case study here. I mean, for years, their whole business was selling software like Photoshop in a box, right? But their CEO, Shantanu Narayan, saw the rise of cloud computing and had this terrifying realization. Their incredibly successful business model was on a collision course with obsolescence. He knew, deep down, they had to make a radical shift. It was either change or die. And look, this transition shows some serious guts. It was not easy. In 2011, Adobe went all in on subscriptions. And for 2 years, their revenue and profits actually went down. That right there, that's the valley of pain you have to cross when you go on offense. But because they committed, because they pushed through, they emerged on the other side with a stronger, more predictable business that absolutely dominates the market today. One of the key offensive strategies today is what Charan calls becoming a math house. This is where algorithms and data aren't just tools you use, they are the core of the business. And this isn't just for tech startups. A legacy company like GE did this by transforming itself for the industrial internet, using data to service the massive equipment it sells, and in the process, totally redefining itself for the 21st century. So, you have the vision and you have the plan. The final crucial piece of the puzzle is execution. Because a brilliant strategy is completely worthless if your organization is too slow, too rigid, or too stuck in its ways to actually act on it. You need agility. And the #1 tool for creating this agility is something called the Joint Practice Session, or JPS. This was famously used by Alan Mulally to engineer the incredible turnaround at Ford. It's basically a disciplined, rhythmic weekly meeting that completely breaks down silos and lets leaders steer the entire organization in real time. So, why does this work so well? Well, it comes down to a few simple but incredibly powerful rules. First, everyone who matters has to be in the room, no exceptions. Second, there's total transparency. Progress on every key project is color-coded, green, yellow, or red, for everyone to see. When something is red, the focus is never on blame. It's on the entire team swarming the problem to fix it together. And this allows for instant adjustments to resources and priorities, making the whole organization unbelievably fast and responsive. And this quote here really brings it all home. It perfectly captures the soul of the attacker's advantage. Uncertainty isn't a threat you need to be afraid of. It's a message. It's a signal that a brand new path for growth is opening up, just waiting for someone with the right lens to see it and the courage to go after it. So here's the bottom line. In a world of constant structural change, playing defense is a losing game. It will only lead to a shrinking business and, eventually, irrelevance. The only real choice is to go on the offense. Which leaves just one question for you to think about. Are you building an attacker or a defender?